Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine Johnson-Stewart and I'm here today to talk about African American culture. I will be talking about its cuisines, its holidays, its religion, and I'll be talking about its background. So let's get into it. African American culture, also known as Black culture, is the second largest minority group in America. Many aspects of African American culture comes from West Africa or the West Indies, where most blacks originated. The tradition of African American culture live on mostly in the southern parts of the United States, maybe like the South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Texas, mainly down south. Most African Americans are the descendants of slaves who worked in the southern plantation during the antebellum era. African American identity was established during the slavery period, producing a dynamic culture that has had and continues to have a profound impact on America culture as a whole. For many years, African American culture developed separately from European American culture, both because of slavery and because of racial discrimination in America, as well as African American slaves descended desires to create their own traditions and abilities, and yet at the same time remains a distinct culture body by itself. Okay, we get into the religion. During slavery time, African American culture believed that after death there was a spiritual life. So when when African American was going through slavery time, they believed that it was a higher power after within them, I can say, and they believe that everything will work out fine, that it doesn't last forever. So they start doing their own religion, start believing in the higher power. So they treated their environment with a mindful care. During the 18th century, Christianity became across North Africa and then making its way to America. So throughout slavery time, through 18th centuries, that's when African American believed in Christianity and God and the higher power, and that's how it became into the world. Now, they do had some other religions, maybe as in they did voodoo. They also did Islam, was a little part in there of Islam, and then some it may be just a little part of Buddhism as well. Now we can get into the music. Music is a key element to African American culture. During slavery, many blacks sang Negro spirituals and call and answer songs while working on the field. African American culture encouraged to use music to pass on history, teach lessons, ease suffering, and relay message through their song. So when they was picking cotton or when they was going through bad times, they would sing and relay messages to one another to know that there is a change coming. African American culture introduced ragtime, jazz, blues, swing, rock and roll, doo-wop, soul, R&B, hip hop, and the famous is funk to America, which I believe is so awesome that they introduced that much music within America. Now, when it comes to holidays, African American culture traditionally observe American holidays, as in Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. They still follow that trend. African American culture do observe Black History Month, which is in February, which is have 28 days. Sometimes, if it's in a leap year, it will have 29 years. And the reason for Black History Month, because they focus on the attention of the past neglect of lives and the stories of African Americans during slavery time. So, which I believe is awesome too. That we, as a Black African American myself, I believe that Black History Month is a beauty and is a given because we have a month to show respect for our older people in time. Another holiday that mostly African American culture use is Kwanzaa, and they believe in Kwanzaa because they believe that instead of receiving or giving gifts out of spending money, they believe that you can hand make, and it's from the heart, and it's a blessing to order to give through the heart and handmade things. So I believe that's great too. Kwanzaa is African American culture too. Now we can go into the fashion and attire looks and how African American culture dress. African American culture incorporate elements from modern fashion and West African American traditional clothing to create a uniquely African American traditional style. Kente cloth is the best known African textile. Now, many people probably don't know what the kente cloth is, and that's the cloth that it produces a lot of colors, and mainly sometimes orange and brown, and have a little diamond shape in within it. And mainly they use these fabrics in t-shirts. They use it in suits. They use it in bow ties. They use it in dresses, of course, for women, and they use it in hats. And now in society today, it's coming back more than ever, which I think is great because it's bringing back the kente cloth, and I love to see that style. So I think that's great. Another fashion that was introduced from African American culture is the hairstyles. Hairstyles can vary from coil curls, it can natural state, it can be afro, it can be twist style, and which is like twisties that is in a form of a braid. Sometimes they use braids, and then they just a wash and go style, and then they love dreadlocks, and that's one of the hairstyles that they enjoy. Last but not least, African American culture, cuisine. It cannot be left out because that's one of African American culture produces as well. While during slavery time, African American culture mixed and cooked over leftover ingredients from their white owners. They made soups and stews. African Americans took the detestables and created a desirable dish through sharing good in a black churches, and they start producing feelings and attachments and a sense of unity, and they to bring their community together, which there comes soul food. So it's to the heart. And the soul food consists of fried chicken, boiled greens, beans, macaroni and cheese, cornbread, okra, ham hocks, and the most out of all time is chitterlings, but in Nerds say it's chitlins. And I'm so happy to present you with this African American culture, to tell you that African American culture is a beautiful culture to be in for myself. And I hope that you enjoy my video about African American culture. It's more websites to go on. I was on wikipedia.com, and also I was on the peopleusa today.com. Thank you, everyone.